The N-word. We hear it used everywhere on the streets, and it's all over hip-hop music as a term of endearment, but it's also being used as a racial slur. So we're wondering, are there rules about who can use it? It wasn't affection, but hate that put the N-word ending in ER in large black spray-painted letters on the garage door of an interracial Stamford, Connecticut couple. Journalism professor Frank Harris III explores the history of the word in his new documentary film, Journey to the Bottom of the N-word. He believes the current climate is giving a green light to hate speech.
I think that a lot of people who have never been called, a lot of black people who have never been called that word may have that experience change as people becoming more emboldened to feel that it's okay to say this word in a hateful manner.
Professor Harris acknowledges the difference between the slur ending in ER and the version of the N-word ending in GA, which is considered to be different and a friendly term, a way for blacks to take ownership and give it a positive meaning. Case in point, up-and-coming hip-hop artist Jin Gates, who's Asian American. His new single, Best Out Here, is getting major airplay and doesn't use the N-word. He tells me he does use it in some songs, and context is everything, especially as hip-hop's cutting edge goes beyond racial and ethnic lines.
I don't say it with ER at the end, I say it with A at the end. And when you say a word, it's what you give the power to the word is the meaning of the word.
As common as it is, there's no real consensus about what's acceptable. That's why public relations expert Lucky Church advises his pro-athlete and entertainment clients to remember every phone has a camera and avoid the word in any form if you want to avoid controversy.
They have to realize that your visual footprint is out there now and it doesn't go away. So when you're saying something, this is pretty much forever online. So I just ask them to really rethink about it and how they want to be perceived.
There's a lot of controversy and different points of view about who can use it. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers, Wordspit the Illest. He's a hip-hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. You've seen him featured in a variety of hip-hop platforms, from Double XL and also mainstream television shows like America's Got Talent. And he's working on a new project, Top Secret, that's going to come out in the spring. Wordspit, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. Also joining us is Hawk Newsome. He's a New York-based community activist. He's also the president of Black Lives Matter in New York. Hawk, great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Frank Harris III. He's a journalism professor at Southern Connecticut State University. He's also a documentary filmmaker with a new film called Journey to the Bottom of the N-word, and he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. Frank, I want to start with you so that we all know what we're talking about here. We're not going to use the N-word out of respect for everybody who, may find offense to it. In terms of the N-word ending in ER and the N-word ending in A, are they the same word from what you've been able to find out?
Well, I believe it's the same word. I know that there are distinctions made today with the A at the end symbolizing to many people a term of endearment. And I've spoken to a lot of people, and they will also say that this is something created by the hip-hop artists, rap artists, adding the A to it. In my research, however, I've found that the word with the A on it has been around for as long as the ER has been around. So it's not anything new. I kind of think of the word as being the same. As having the same meaning in my respect. I don't use the word in either form unless I'm talking about in the context of talking about the word itself.
And the discussion. Wordspit the Illest, you're from East New York. You can't go anywhere in a lot of cities, including New York, on the streets, on the trains. You hear people talking, yo, my N, like that. Yeah. And it's so common in conversation. How do you feel about it?
I'm from East New York, and I'm a young person in hip hop, and we use it as a term of endearment. It does be like, yo, my was good, you know what I mean? But also at the same time, like, I have to check like some of my white friends when they used it, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, listen, you can't. This isn't for you right now. This isn't inclusive to your struggle right now. This is about me and how I interact with my people of a certain skin tone, of a certain background, Afrocentric people, and that's just how I feel about it.
Hawk, what about you? How do you feel about the N-word, the way it's being used in our culture right now?
I believe that the word is our property. We own it. It's our privilege to use it with one another. I don't think that any person from any other culture or race has the right to tell us when and how to use it. Would I like to see us move forward and past this word? Yes. As a man who's engulfed in the community and engulfed in this movement, I believe that black people need to rebrand themselves in a much more positive way. Lately, you've heard a lot of brothers call themselves beloved, king, queen, brother, sister. I'd like to see us uplift each other with our vernacular as opposed to using a word that's kind of sketchy. But at the same time, there's a unity in using the N word.
Frank, what about that?
I mean, that may be true among some brothers, and I use the word brothers, and that's the word that I kind of like that word.
prefer
better.
that?
I prefer brother. I said, instead of my brother, my sister, and that's what I grew up. I'm older than both of you, I'm sure, and I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s. That's what we heard. That's my brother, my sister. I was on a radio show in Connecticut once, and a caller came in and said, we earned the right to use that word. And I said, seriously, I don't think, there's a lot of things that black people in this country have experienced over the years, over the centuries. And the right to call each other the N-word is not something I'm going to hang my hat on. It's something that I want to be.
You don't think that's progress?
I don't think it's progress. I think it's regression in my view. That's my view.
They know that blacks have a problem with white people saying this, and if they want to use that word, let them use it at their own risk.
A lot of people are listening to music on apps. They're listening to music streaming services. We play on the radio. We play the clean versions of songs. There's no cursing. There's no N-words. No any of that. But the versions that most teens want to listen to are the dirty versions and the ones that have these words in them, especially the N-word, because they think that's cool.
I think they think it's cool because it's like everybody that's, obviously that's not black think it's cool because it's such a provocative word. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you're not supposed to say. Like, even when I look at like some of my other friends or from other cultures, it's like, yo, bro, why are you even comfortable saying that around me? You know what I mean? And it does fall into that double standard to where it's like we know, but we also have really just taken that and just made it powerful, because I don't think nothing has changed personally in America. I think everything is
Nothing has changed since when?
I think we made leaps and bounds, obviously, since slavery, but I still feel like we're still in poverty. I still live in a place where I could go the next train stop and it's a Whole Foods. You know what I mean? But the next train stop over, somebody's getting killed. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, how much did stuff change? You know what I mean? I live in an area where
There's a much larger black middle class. There's many more black Americans in college. There've been a lot of improvements, but there's still problems. To be sure, there's still problems. There's still racism is something you can't give people a test and say you passed it, okay, it's over and done with. To be sure, there's problems. We deal with a lot of those in our communities as well, and I report on a lot of them. But in terms of progress, I think to say there's been no progress is I can't let you get away with it.
I'm not saying that there's no progress. No, I'm sorry for even saying that. What I'm saying is, yes, we have made tremendous steps in progress, but I personally still live in the fire. I still live where they are gentrifying my neighborhood and they are pushing a lot of black people out. Big time. And East New York is next. That's next on the list.
East New York is already underway. Pennsylvania Avenue, forget about
it.
Okay, but let me, the gentrification thing is a very important issue, but let me bring it back to the N-word, because the thing, isn't it just a simple solution to say, okay, we're going to have, as you're saying, you prefer to start evolving into another word, and then there's no confusion, because America is still, the vast majority of America is still white. So when they see black rappers using the N-word, they're calling themselves that, so it's okay for me to use.
Like a lot of
and may
us,
not even understand there's a difference between the ER and the A.
that it's a difference. They know that blacks have a problem with white people saying this, and if they want to use that word, let them use it at their own risk. Anybody else from another culture who wants to use that word, they should look out for their surroundings because they might catch something coming from around.
General's
No,
advice.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
No,
You might get hurt.
I think a lot of people would agree with
Yeah.
you about that because, and we've seen different artists not use. Eminem never used that word, for example.
Let me say
Professor?
about the music thing. I talked with Stat Quo, who was a rapper who was there with him, and I asked him about the use of the word, and he said, well, it's he does use it in his music, and he said sometimes it bothers him a little bit when he'd be hearing whites, singing along with the song or whatever. So I asked him, do you think you would stop using this? He says, no way. And I said, why not? And he said, it's a habit. It's just a habit. And like he said, habits are hard to break. And I think that there are a lot of people who have the word as a habit. Now, I asked you earlier.
Like cigarette smoking.
Like cigarette smoking. And I asked you earlier, I mean, whether you could stop. I mean, I've had people tell me that they don't think they can stop. It's very difficult. It's like a habit. They're so used to saying it, they can't let it go. And what I'm just saying is, let it go.
But I feel like what he said earlier too, it does take a certain level of reprogramming.
Well, you just told me you had
let's talk about
willpower and everything.
guys,
No,
gentlemen,
I'm
let's
talking
talk about reprogramming.
Don't get it twisted.
Wordsmith,
All right.
don't get it twisted. We have to take a break. Don't get it twisted. I'm Lisa Evers, Street Soldiers. We'll be right back. I'm talking about 2017. Nobody is putting that word in people's mouths
what?
and putting it in artists' mouths and putting it on the platforms and telling them write a song that uses the N-word at least 30 times and you're going to have with a good beat and you're going to have a banger.
If they do it, they will. They know if they do it, they will get paychecks. They will be popping, just like they know if
but
they
you
talk
said
about
that we
shooting
were
their
the
brothers.
You have people that don't even
raiding
need
their
record
sisters.
labels anymore.
don't
Look
even
at like
think
Chance
it's
the
about
Rap. Okay,
Chance is dope.
Professor.
Chance is the dopest.
But I'm just saying, you don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't need somebody's permission to make music and create a career. He did it on. He
Brought
did it on his
God
own.
into the music. It was
Exactly.
awesome.
But-
Yeah.
but
He
how-
still uses the N-word.
Okay, but
Okay, but that's
and he
his.
still uses
but,
the B
but this
word.
is what I'm saying. He's
Like-
not beholden to anybody for his
But it's
to
part
to
of
support
the
his
cul- it's
family or
part
to
of the
support his
lifestyle.
lifestyle. Frank,
I
It's
think you were saying,
definitely a part of
Huck,
it.
you were saying earlier that black people, particularly in New York, are the ones who create the culture and all of the things that are cool. So
And
there's
LA
no
and
white.
Atlanta.
So are you not saying that the system is responsible for that? You can't have it.
understand what you're
Well,
saying.
you said that the system is responsible for a lot of things, but you're saying that black people are responsible for putting out the culture and the things
Yeah.
that are cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are we able to do that but not do other things?
Okay. Here's
So
what
if
it
you're
is.
oppressed, how are you? I think the question is if you're saying Black Americans are oppressed, then how are they also able to create the culture and drive what's popular?
It's just like when we were on the plantations, we still beat our drums and had our little music thing going on. We were still able to get our little groove on. Black people are soulful people.
Hawk,
People
you have,
like
there's
our
a, there's a
soul.
lot more.
People like our soul. I understand what you're saying, but I would
Black
like I told
Americans
you,
are free. There's a lot of black
Yeah.
millionaires. There's communities where the black population is better educated and making
the
more
whole-
money than the
on the whole.
whites that are there or the other ethnicities
on
that
the
are there.
whole, everybody did better under Barack Obama than black people. We are always last. We vote first. Our needs are met last. We suffer. Police treat us the worst.
Hawk, with all
Like,
due
come
respect,
on.
can you
oppressed.
answer Frank's question?
Why can't we change it?
But why not just change what you can change, and you can change immediately with a couple, with your thumbs right on the.
See, the thing is, you have to work on a solution, but it starts with our elders, people like Frank, really trying to understand the young people. You know what I mean? Like really.
He
trying,
is. He went all over
you
the
can't-
country and the
I
world
understand
doing it.
But he still speaks
Documenting it.
from the, like with this condescension.
You're saying he has to agree?
Here's-
Oh
here's
no,
what they-
no,
come
no,
on,
no,
bro.
Hawk.
Here's what
He's
they need to
Hawk,
do.
absolutely
No,
not.
No,
Hawk, absolutely
come
not.
on to it. Like I'm tired of
I don't
people
think there's a
talking
con-
down to our kids. When I get with
There's
our
not a
kids,
condescension.
I get
How is he being?
on
I-
Give me
the
an
level.
example. He's not being
Here's-
condescending.
Here's what you need to do. I have a problem with it. It's wrong.
No,
People
why
need to do
isn't
this
he? Listen,
differently.
just first of all, on
That's-
Street
that's
Soldiers,
wrong.
everyone is entitled to their
Yeah,
own opinion,
that's
whether
it.
we agree or disagree.
That's it.
He's entitled to his
What-
opinion,
what-
and I
It's a
heard
valid opinion.
and I heard absolutely nothing from what he said
Yeah.
that was condescending in
I-
any way.
I-
He disagrees with you on certain
I
things,
di- I
which is fine.
disagree.
But
it's-
that's it.
it's
So let's
almost
not
as
get
like-
personal attacks.
No, it's not that. But what I'm saying is
He he talked to everybody. He talked to a lot of people.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You guys see the
Listen to what
documentary
I'm
too.
saying. It's like when you're dealing with kids,
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to tell kids they're talking down to these kids.
Well,
let me finish, brother.
okay, go ahead, go
Everybody's talking down. Get on the level. Look them eye to eye. You know how many gangbangers, how many kids I talk to and be like, yo, what I got to do to get Black Lives Matter into your head? I don't tell them, here, this is what you need to do. I try to listen to them. Listen
Did you
to
not
them.
Okay,
tell
but
him
that's
that-
exactly what
okay,
he did.
but
He went around the country and around the world talking to people from all different backgrounds, all different generations
Mm-hmm.
about this word. So I think he's doing that. But go ahead, Frank.
Well,
you don't need,
again,
you don't need me to.
Again, I'm
just trying to be fair here.
I don't feel that I disparage you any more than you disparage me. We just share different ideas and so forth. Now, as I said earlier, I don't condemn black people for using the word. I really would prefer that they do not use the word. And that's just for me from a sense of respect for yourselves and for those who came before you. Now, again, as I said in my film, I don't expect that everybody is going to immediately stop saying the word. And that's why I said the film is
So if we
the
say,
N-word.
if we
The
say the
N-word,
N-word, we don't respect ourselves?
no, well, in my view, calling oneself the N-word is, to me, not respectful. That's my view. Okay, that's
And
my
that's his
view.
opinion.
Don't respect
That's my
yourselves.
view.
No,
That's
that's
my-
his.
Thank you, brother.
No, that's his.
my
That's his
view.
view.
Yeah, I understand.
That's his view.
But
Well,
that's
is
offensive.
it condescending to you to tell me as an older person that I don't have a right to say that what you're doing is disrespectful?
But see, the thing is, you don't start a conversation with people by telling them they're disrespecting themselves. You come from a place of love. You come from a place where if you really want to try and
We're
get
talking about
with
apples and
these
oranges.
people-
Sometimes when you come from a place of love, you have to be the person
Tough
who
love.
is telling it like it is.
Yeah.
Now, if unfortunately,
Captain Tell It
when
Like
you
It
when you say you're talking to children
Yeah.
and you're going to their level, for one thing, that's children. I don't think adults should be at children's level. Okay.
This is why y'all generation don't relate. This is why nobody listens to y'all. This is why.
No. I think he's-
I'm serious, and I'm not being disrespectful. What I'm saying is, it's that attitude.
What
right?
a- what
It's-
atti- what-
it's
what
that-
atti- what
it's
attitude?
that
What attitude are you talking
is
about?
The young people don't know what they're doing. The young people need to listen. The young people are wrong. It's
No,
that.
he's
that's
saying
the
he
disconnect.
considers it-
I
Well,
think
he's saying- he's saying-
I think you're misconstruing what I'm
He's
saying
he's
here.
saying
huh?
that he considers the word
Yeah.
disrespectful. He talked to everybody. He talked to people who used it. He even talked to people who used it as a term of hate. So
course.
I understand what you're
with
saying.
you.
I don't think that template fits this particular situation. Big shout out to everyone that's doing everything positive in the community. But I want to thank our panel.
All right.
Frank, I'll give you one last word real quick.
All I can say is that for me, I prefer to call my brother,
I love you, my brother.
my brother. All right,
love you.
and we cool. We may disagree, but you're still my brothers.
Oh, I love that. Okay,
Right
we're
on.
good with that,
I'll
right?
take it a step further. Like I said, I want to make a move in a positive direction, and I recognize the wisdom in our elders. So I would like to work with you to figure out how we can reach the youth.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, I love
And
this.
listen,
All right, guys.
and I'm here for all y'all.
I feel so old now.
But it's
All right, no, and thank you all for this discussion. All right, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad everybody, everything's moving forward in a positive way. Wordsmith, the illest hip hop artist from East New York, Brooklyn. Hawk Newsom, president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York and the Black Lives Caucus Voter Literacy Drive. And Frank Harris III, journalism professor, Southern Connecticut State University, New Haven, documentary filmmaker. And I think you should really check this out if you like this discussion. It's called Journey to the Bottom of the N-Word. And he's also a columnist for the Hartford Courant. And I want to thank you all very, very much for being so open and being so honest about how you feel and your experiences on the show, because I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners did too. So thank you very, very much. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace.